Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And today we have Aurora Luna on with us, and we're going to be diving in about authenticating your star blueprint. And so Aurora's going to talk to us about connecting with our galactic heritage, how to activate your co-creative manifesting superpowers, and actualizing your star blueprints. It's going to be an amazing call. Of course, we'll get into live Q&A. And if you're not familiar with Aurora, even though I know a lot of y'all are, Aurora specializes in soul evolutionary activations. And excuse me for tripping up my words today. Um, she specializes in star journey activations, crystal healing, and vibrational resonance, and field cohesion realignments. As a member of the Elders of the Cosmos, Aurora brings forth the immortal Christed light codes, offering assistance to those who feel guided to step into the highest potential in this now moment. And I can share from my personal experience that she brings in a refined energy through the different ways in which she cosmically, shamanically, galactically brings in a cohesion for remembrance in us. My words are not coming out today, and it's for a reason. I feel something's activating here. That it's time, y'all. We're ready to activate more within us. We're ready to remember, which is part of that activation, our bodies, our fields, our consciousness are at that point of maturation where it's time to go to the next level of our potentiality and actually ground it in to actualize it. And these are important connection points for that. So it's with great enthusiasm that I present to you Aurora Luna Star. Welcome, Aurora.
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you so much for that beautiful intro. And thank you all who are here. This is a very, very exciting time. So I'm excited to really be speaking today about all the things that are unfolding.
Well,
Very exciting.
well, how about we get into what's been unfolding in the field in and around you that you're witnessing, experiencing, and guiding other people into before we get into where authenticating your star blueprints is. So let's lay the field for what's present for us now, and that's facilitating an activation in this now moment.
My sense is what's happening is people are really starting to remember that participating in duality is a road that will lead to more duality. People are starting to understand that when you play the game that's being played around us, and when we give into, good and bad, for lack of a better expression, that we start making other people wrong, which doesn't end up solving any problems. We just start perpetuating more energy of anger, of frustration, of misunderstanding, miscommunication. And what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing, and the activations I'm getting directly from my team, it's been nothing short of a miracle. I really am so, on a personal level, aware of how vast our etheric energy is, how it can, when we focus our intention and attention, we can really start to experience and witness miracles in our lives. And it's not mine. Every single person out there can have these experiences, and I get it. For a long time, I felt like I was pushing the boulder up the mountain, and then the boulder would just roll right over me. Right? So I'd start again. And I'm at a point now where it feels like a new beginning entirely.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really inviting the energy of the past into our future. We really are creating the future in every moment, allowing the ground to shake beneath our feet and feel uncertain, and yet stay focused, because that focus is going to be the building blocks of how we choose to create the future.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, what I feel in the tones of what you're speaking of as well, is that as we related to the past, we were making something outside of us dictate how we were moving forward. And what's happening now is that there's an intimacy that is really more about what's within us that's really creating the future.
100%. And I love that you use the word intimacy, right? Into me, I see,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So it is. This is a very intimate process. And we are the holy trinity of Gaia and ourselves and our source teams of light, activating again when we focus our energy as to what we desire to create. It's incredible how we can create. And there's no way that I understand in this moment that our past is going to really be of service in bringing us forward. It's important to know that the past did serve an entire purpose. So it's not like we can throw our hands up and say, well, this was all awful. Of course, that's not true. And at the same time, we can say, I don't want to learn that way anymore. I want to participate differently. I want to show up authentically. And that's why we're authenticating rather than activating. It's stepping into a new vibration, or let's say really connecting with a vibration that already exists, but perhaps we haven't anchored it or grounded it in this life, in this body, on this planet.
Mm.
So yeah.
So what exactly is our star blueprint?
I call it a star blueprint. Others might call it a divine template. It's all kind of the same, right? It's just framing it so that we have an understanding or remembering or understanding that we aren't just the body and this mundane human experience, right? So the blueprint is remembering that we have access to everything. When I say everything, I'm experiencing connection through the multiverse, but snippets. I'm asking to keep it within excitement, but not mind blowing or Kundalini altering energy, because it can feel like overwhelm when we don't set the parameters and boundaries. But my awareness is that the expansive nature, we really are just starting to scratch the surface. You know, when you talk about the fact that you can grow an organ, and you can, but you don't know what that feels like because you're just setting an intention, it seems like an impossible thing, right? It seems very elusive. A lot of creation seems elusive because we hear about it, but we don't know how to experience it. And so if there's no point of reference, we want to see it to believe it. And it really has to go backwards. And so as we put our faith and trust in ourselves, that we have a star and divine template energy that is, the intelligence is going to guide us. We don't have to keep looking outward for the expression. We really can get into places and spaces. And what I love is that for me, I can't only sit still in my meditations, right? And a lot of people will tell me that as well. So I'll do ecstatic dance, I'll do drumming, I'll walk in nature, I'll do singing and singing bowls. And all of those different activities can bring me into that same still point of the no thing. And from that place, we get to experience ourselves so much more as a vibrational being than the 3D experience of thinking we're a body and that we have to follow, like you said, the constructs that have been set before us from the past. And the more we spend in those states of that energy, I mean, once you really know what it is to put all of that energy in place and plug it in, if you will, online to unity consciousness, you're unstoppable.
Well, how do you get someone to the place where I don't believe I'm enough, I'm not worthy, I can't connect to higher energies, I've never experienced that. What's a Kundalini awakening? There's not enough money in my bank account, but my health, but my relationship isn't this. How do we go from those basic standards and meeting those in ways that are perhaps beyond the expectations of in the way that we've held them in the past, to getting to this place of understanding that we're this infinite power of creation and where we put our attention flows. Because right now I'm putting my attention on, I don't have enough money in my bank account, or my partner's not showing up the way I want them to, or people just don't understand me and I don't belong.
So I've experienced all of that like everyone else. And we start at the beginning. So the beginning is sometimes it's about just focusing in the moment on something that makes you smile, right? We're not going to, I've been at this for 20 years. You've been at this longer, but you've actualized a lot of your stuff already, which is why you host this show for so many years. My awareness is that we start with the small things to build the foundation. And even though it sounds cliche or trite, it's the truth. If I don't choose my focus in the morning, so I'm going to fly to New York in September for my niece's wedding. And someone just brought up to me, so what about all these things going on with planes? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't listen. I know have been some events. I'm not focusing on that because I'm not getting out that easy, first of all. We've all got work to do. But beyond that, if I go into fear like everyone else, then that's the creation point. So I'm afraid, I don't like flying to begin with. I'm afraid of heights. Don't love being in the air without terra firma beneath my feet. And I'm a creator. I can ask all manner of beings to be on that flight with me, inside the flight, outside the flight, with the pilots, with all creation. And I've done that in the past and I'll do it again. But now it's not a question in my mind as to whether or not those beings are there. It's not a question in my mind that I need to get where I'm going. And so do all the people that are with me. And so we're like, I almost set a collective intention on behalf of all of us together. It's just, we're tending to live life in the mundane and forgetting to make it sacred. And the template of our star energy is divinity. It is making the mundane sacred. I take a lot less for granted, and I take a lot more in gratitude and in connection and in awareness that in every moment I am truly co-creating. And trust me, I've had my bank account go down to less than zero. I've had my car repossessed. I've had relationships dissolve in thin air. I've had, all the external world show me everything I'm not, because I didn't believe it. Not because source isn't trying its very best and all the energy that surrounds us, trying to help us. If we're not tuning into the radio station, we're not going to hear it. I'm right. If I'm stuck on AM and all the music I want is on FM, I'm not going to be able to hear it. I have to tune myself to the frequencies of love. And it is a flex. It is doing it daily. It is sometimes faking it till you make it. It is showing up in small ways every day and saying, okay, today I'm not in a great place. What am I believing right now? Is it true? Or am I tying into a consciousness that's trying to keep me in a small place? Usually when we're sitting in fear with money, with relationship, with anything external, we haven't come back to the energy of love. Our innate energy of love. I don't mean like romantic love. I mean the love that is source, that is all that is Gaia, constantly offering these frequencies to us. So my starting point for these things is simple. What makes you laugh? Are you constantly filling your energy field with media that's bringing you down and confirming and validating your depression? Or are you choosing other energies? Right? So if you're still navigating the external, at least start to make your external meet a happier, lighter, brighter vibration also. Right? So that you do start to feel better. From that place, now you can really start to go inward, remember, and feel. And in all fairness, this package that I'm offering today is all about energy. It's the blueprints in the cards that can also be of service. And then I'm going to make one for you. And then we're going to activate together in the session. So I'm even offering physical tools that will help you remind you to bring your energy back. There's 22 cards for 20, you look at one each day, you work with the energy of each one each day. There's even a sound cloud that comes with it so that you start to have an awareness in the deeper meaning of what the image is showing you.
Amazing. Y'all, we're going to get into a special offer in a little bit, but you got a little sneak preview there as to what's going on. And Chris or April, if you'll put the link in the chat box if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it. Y'all can click on the special offer if you want to start browsing through there. But I want to go more deeply into it in just a little while. We'll also get into Q&A. So if you guys want to get into Q&A, and I'm sure there might be a little process or transmission or some type of
I'm happy to
energetic hit that we'll get to benefit from on today's call as well. So there's a lot to look forward to still, y'all. As you were speaking, I was taken back to the beginning of the call and really want to ground in the actualization of where we are as creators in our lives. And into is where we're putting our attention and focus on, that's where we're growing. And what I know is true is that we are becoming much more consciously aware of the different doorways, gateways, and really, metaphorically speaking and energetically, there could be doorways or expansions. From an expansionary standpoint, they're really thresholds of evolution.
Yeah.
And we're going through a period of extreme transcendence. And what you're offering and what you're suggesting, Aurora, as we connect to our star blueprints and authenticate it, as we connect to our galactic heritage, which I want to talk to you about a little bit more as well, that we're becoming more aware of more choices of opportunities that are available to us that are not limited to the 5 boxes. Am I enough? Will I survive? Will I be able to put food on the table? Will someone love me? And will I be accepted? And everything that revolved around that. And we're becoming more educated and mature, understanding that the grocery store is a lot bigger in consciousness than what we had anticipated. And that we do have the authority to choose something different. And then as we choose, that we become aware that there is a corresponding energy that wants that for us as well. And how beautiful is that?
It's amazing. And it's always there. And I get it. If you all aren't having that experience, not only are you not alone, this is why we came. Right? We came to shift a paradigm, but we never knew what that shift was going to look like. And now we're seeing things are unfolding that don't seem to make sense. And yet at the same time, they're affording a shift in a complete different way of seeing things. My sense is that everything from this point forward, like life will really never, already we experience COVID and all the colorfulness of that. This is going to offer another rainbow of opportunity to choose where you're focusing your energy and what you desire to manifest through it and with it. Because these are huge.
Oh, y'all give me a minute. I'm not sure if it's Aurora's line or my line that's going down a little bit as far as our connection. April, will you let me know if it's me? Okay, it's Aurora who's breaking up a little bit. So let's give Aurora a couple of minutes to come back, y'all. And to follow on the thread and where she's taking us into, there truly is an uncovering. It's if you look at the news and some of the things that they discovered, that look, there's structures underneath the Great Pyramids in Egypt. We've been talking about that in this community in different ways, that there's other technologies there. but the proof hadn't quite presented itself to us. We've been talking about that we're transcending our realities, that we're stepping into an ascension that's becoming possible for us because we're awakening to a divinity that lives inside of us that we can't deny anymore. And we're seeing the ascensionary process really demonstrating itself as how many more people are having these types of conversations. I think it was 15 years ago, you couldn't use the word meditation on TV, and now it's all over the place. Spirituality is becoming more acceptable and mainstream. And you have all these people, and many of y'all who are channels, energy workers, healers, empaths, in ways that you're aware that there's a telepathic communication happening in your connection with other people, with animals, with the earth, and with your own guides. And all that is coming alive in us as a truth. Now, what are we choosing to do with that truth now? Are we going to keep choosing that truth and focusing on the primal fears? I have no support. I don't belong. I'm afraid of the path ahead because I don't recognize it. Or do we get back into a place where we trust who we have become in the process and understand that we're walking through those thresholds that are meant for us during this time? And so again, there's a tremendous portal of opportunities and how we're choosing to experience this beautiful blueprint and lot of life that we have been gifted to experience in this earthly realm. And what will we choose with that? Aurora's just texted me. She said she's going to log back in. So again, there's a consciousness that I want to invite you all to put more attention to. Not just look for the solutions, but really start feeling a resonance in a direction as to what is calling you in that magnetic pull forward, in remembrance, in knowing, in trusting yourself in that relational dynamic. And allow those things that would tell you that it's not safe or that you won't be received or that it's not possible or that I don't know if what I'm receiving is true, but I've got this thing that's in the way or this other thing that's in the way. And what if you just allow yourself to walk forward, knowing while those things may be true for you, that they don't have to be what leads on this particular journey on your path. You can have the wisdom of the experience so that you inadvertently don't repeat what caused you suffering in the past. But you have the wisdom of your experience so that you don't repeat what caused you suffering in the past. So that you can actually surrender any of the primal worries that come in that would have you half step into an opportunity that would have you dive in and create something brand new. And we're witnessing and experiencing the amplification of the energies that are facilitating the crossing through these thresholds, that are holding a vibrational state for a portal that's open so that we can actually navigate through the level of consciousness and the field not collapse for us. So again, Aurora's going to come back on soon, and I want to get into more of the galactic heritage. So welcome back, Aurora. Aurora, let's get into galactic heritage. Tell us a little bit about that and why you feel that there's a foundational aspect to having an awareness and embracing it that's helping us on this journey going forward.
Well, my sense is that we are all on this planet as seeds and have always been. So that means that our galactic heritage has already, and as an Akashic for the galactic, there are people that know more than myself, but what I know is that they've already been through the evolutionary process. They've already navigated the wars, the separation, the duality, the lower vibrational expression. And so, what we're essentially connecting with is future aspects in the all time that is now of who we already are, right? We have this magical DNA. And my sense is, as I channel Om Rahanu, which is a ninth dimensional frequency that's not from this universe, they use the earth as a satellite and they project energy into earth essentially, and then come up through me as I channel.
Hmm.
And I know that I am Om Ra. I know that it's not all that I am. And I know that other people feel like they're very connected to Om Ra as well. So I'm not alone or own the frequency, right? It doesn't work that way. And at the same time, I do have an absolute awareness that I have been accessing and can access, and we can all access in all time being now. There's still a future because we live in a linear timeline in this moment. We can access ourselves from the future, aspects that already have wisdom, that have already been through all of this energy. And so when we authenticate it, that means that we're willing to step into almost a role of leadership. Leadership does not mean that we have to go out and speak in front of thousands of people. It does not mean that we need to convince people to believe what we believe. But leadership does mean that we're going to choose to be the example. And the only way we can be the example is by really living authentically. And that is part of the whole of all of it, right? We know of our connections to the Pleiades and to Sirius and to Arcturus, right? And all the ones that we know in our universe. We are so far connected beyond that point. But again, no one wants to get their brain blown up or their energy, fritzed out. Nobody wants a lightning bolt in the expression or the experience. So we are calling in this gentle, loving potentiality so that we can experience it with ease and grace. And that piece definitely becomes important as well. But for me, I feel every single person on this planet is a starseed, no matter what role they're choosing to play. So, right, there are people who may never touch the idea of star heritage in this life. They don't have to. That's not what they're here to do in this lifetime, right? We're all here to embody whatever aspects of alignment and resonance we feel, right? That's
Hmm.
why we're all together right now, because we feel the resonance or the truth of remembering our star heritage and the truth of who we are as divine beings. And if other people agree or disagree, that's okay. We can meet everyone where they are in that space of love, and that's pretty much our only task.
Beautiful. So someone was commenting about last week's retreat in Sedona and attesting to the amazing fun energy, wisdom, and abilities that you have in communicating in different ways. So, John, thank you for writing that.
Oh,
That's,
John
I,
West.
I want to ask you about Amra and the experiences of what's being ignited through you and what Amra's sharing. What came through in Sedona, what's coming through as you're tapping into the portals in Mount Shasta as well. What's their guidance and messaging for us in our awakening, or I wouldn't even call our awakening, our discovery and authenticating process?
It's all the things we've already heard because spirituality at its roots is extremely simple, but I'll say simple and not easy up until this
Mm.
point, right? Because we tend to self sabotage, we tend to get lazy, we tend to not ultimately feel worthy, and or we believe. But we haven't seen proof. And so it's almost easier to believe the lie of the matrix or the construct or what we've been told we are, because the healing process can arduous at times. I mean, I have screamed and cried and jumped up and down and been through all of the energies of releasing those belief systems, and I'm not done. So please know that I don't walk on water. I'm still going through human things every day like everyone else. And I sit with it, I feel it, right? So Om Ra always talks about chop wood, carry water, right? No matter what's happening in our lives, when we focus on basic things that help our energy feel calm. I think that Omra keeps coming back to the central nervous system and not looking to fry us out or for us to get so activated that we end up in crisis, right? The crisis is already happening. So the question is, what do we do with that, whatever that means? Now we're meant to ground and come back to mother and father, whatever that means, like ourselves as mother and father, or spirit as mother and father, and Gaia, right? We have all these examples around us, but we keep choosing to go back to fear. And fear doesn't have to be the primary focus. And if your system is attuned to fear, it's time to attune your system to the vibration of truth, which is just the all. Right. So again, how we experience the all is going to look different every time. But when I was in Sedona, what I was really feeling with this group was how ready they all were to experience the next octave of their expression. And they did. I watched every single person light up, have new experiences that they didn't have prior, that they've been wanting to experience, because they didn't show up with ego and they didn't show up with expectation. Literally, Kenji is very fun. When I work with him, it's like you leave your ego at the door, and you really do, right? You leave your shoes at the door, you leave your ego at the door. Whatever is showing up in our lives is there as a teaching, if we can look at it that way. And it can be hard, again, because it's like, well, how many times do I need to learn this lesson? Well, maybe one more, but be gentle, right? We're used to the criticism. And so then we become the critic. And if we can just be love, if we can give ourselves permission to feel the ugly feelings of
Mm.
anger, of jealousy, of what may be hatred, but hatred is just fear because it's something we don't understand. So we think we have to throw hate at it, right? If we can just give ourselves permission to say, wow, I'm having those feelings, and I'm going to just give myself an experience to feel them and not make them wrong. Right? If they were wrong, we wouldn't be experiencing them. It's okay to feel. It's what we do with the feeling. We're used to projecting all of that onto everyone around us, especially the people closest to us. I'm still guilty of that sometimes.
Mm.
And I catch myself and I take responsibility for it. I don't make someone else responsible for what I am triggered by or navigating or processing or having a really hard time with. And it's an ever evolution. We don't have to be perfect. I don't hold myself to perfection. I hold myself to responsibility.
Mm.
But I'm not going to be perfect in this life, to my awareness, until we all move collectively together into whatever the next dimensional existence looks like. And even
Well,
then, it's not about perfection. It's just understanding unity in a more broad sense.
and the unity is a key component of that. It's the component
Yeah.
for our collective experience. But what's also happening is that as we're navigating these reframes and rewirings, again, we're also accessing, as we're elevating our consciousness, the wisdom, again, of the galactic heritage, the wisdom of the authenticated star blueprints. It lives within us. We just haven't been in a phase of having a cohesive enough energy to hold the vibrational qualities for it to truly activate.
100%.
But we're there. We are, it's like it is popping left and right in the field, and we're making each other aware of it. And we're also making each other aware of it through our actions and the ripple effects of those actions, no matter where you see those actions may lead. So all that is happening in the collective. I'm curious if you can share with us more about what star codes have to do with these activations and how they relate to us as individuals.
I recently was showed 144 strand DNA. And the purpose behind seeing it was an awareness that 144 strands, and then they said 144,000, and I'm like, yeah, too much. Let's bring that back.
Hmm.
The 144 was in relation to our dimensional experience, right? 12 dimensions, 144 strands of DNA. And so much of what we're working with in this moment is dormant, whether it be the amount of brain that we have access to, like our brain power energy, versus also what they're calling the junk DNA, right? And how so many people are still showing up with so many different kinds of illnesses because of unprocessed energy of the emotional kind. And so when we talk about star codes, we're talking about the parts of our DNA that are absolutely from the stars. My awareness is that we're all very connected to the Pleiades. And so everyone, I don't think I've ever met a person in this moment, and I'll be happy to be proven wrong at some point, should I be. But in this moment, they're humanoid and they are very, very close to our expression of being. And I'm also aware that a lot of souls will take a time out in the Pleiades before coming back into a body to make sure that there's like the classroom there to fortify the energy field, explain things maybe to some degree, so that as we awaken, we start to have these memories of not just being with them, but that there's so much more than what we're experiencing in this lockout of a field. It's so, you know, we're the minute we're divergent in any way, society wants to slap a label on it and make fun of it and make sure that people aren't looking at it, right? The divergence is where the gift is. We're not meant to be like everyone else. We're meant to be absolutely shining our unique light. And the star codes, when we're not actually paying attention to them, that's part of the dormancy, but also part of where we start getting illness and start getting, depressed, right? When we're not living authentically, we're not paying attention to the energy that we actually are. When we're paying attention to that energy, nurturing that energy, right? I don't allow myself to do things that don't feel authentic anymore. I really recently joined something and then I rescinded it because it didn't feel like resonance. I was doing it because everyone else was doing it, and I was like, wow, I haven't done that in a long time. I think I just need to bow out right now. One, because I'm truly very busy, and two, because I don't feel a resonance in this moment with what all that is. And it doesn't make that wrong. It's a beautiful, awesome thing, but it's just not for me, and maybe just not right now. Right. So when we start fine tuning, how much am I people pleasing? Right? How much am I exerting energy that doesn't feel like my alignment? Our star codes are starting to sparkle and say, right, we don't have to do things according to other definitions anymore. And maybe we don't know what the definition is, and we can just sit in that. And that's okay too. So the star codes are intricately and intrinsically connected to our source vibrational frequency of love and light. They turn on our superpowers, right? Infinite cosmic power, itty bitty living space. Our bodies are magical too, but we're used to only tending to the physicality of the body when we are emotional and mental, and then hundreds of thousands of layers of our etheric field, or at least that's how I see the expression. The etheric field for me is where we're experiencing every lifetime concurrently in the all time is now. It's just that this very field that we're in the body is the focal point right now.
Mhm. Yeah. And again, it's that these activations are taking place, and with the focal points, it's there also because there's something deeper. There's layers that are primed to be activated if they're not activated already, and if they are activated, perhaps amplified even more. So again, it's a metamorphosis that's taken place.
Yeah.
A lot of it could be already activated, but again, to provide it more of that amplification so it can pump with greater ease and fluidity is part again of what we're all walking in different ways, and it redefines our belief systems. It redefines our way of thinking. It defines our way of connection. And it raises truly what I know to be higher standards for how we interact with one another because of the absolute awareness of how interconnected we all truly are, bar none. Bar none. So this is quite powerful. Y'all, I want to get into Q&A in a little bit. I definitely want to get into the opportunity of a transmission with Aurora here on the show today. I want to get into a special offer in a little bit. Aurora, I think I'm guided to go to live Q&A first. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right. I want to promote some of y'all here to panelists that had your hands raised. And as that's coming online, and Linda, let's start with you first. Welcome to the call.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm really thrilled that you honored me to talk. Aurora, how would we tell? I know that I'm somewhat attached to the Pleiadians, but I believe also I might have some starseed potential with the Arcturians. Do you see anything like that?
I do. You have not just the Arcturians, you have more than that. So what you need to remember is that the teacher shows up and the student is ready. So part of what happens is the Pleiades is probably one of your main frequencies in this moment. And so as that truth, they are the first connection that felt like alignment for you. It wasn't necessarily scary or, whatever our thought processes can be around our connection with our star families. And then Pleiades also has specific traits. So, leadership and healing, there's a lot of that energy there, right? So,
Yes.
right. And so that's also a lot of who you are. Now, if we talk about Arcturus, we're starting to speak about other things like healing technology. Such as medbeds and scalar and other kinds, right? And Arcturus also will have other focal points within their connection with humanity. And so that's what will happen when we do the time together. We'll talk about what some of those connections are. And then to that end, what also can be is simply as an ascended master or angelic will enter your field at a certain time for a specific reason, right? So in other words, maybe you're navigating something and this specific star team is showing up because they have medicine that can help you. And when I say medicine, I mean some form of energy or awareness or gift that they can share with you that will allow you to navigate an experience. And then they'll pop back out and maybe someone else steps in. Because every star system, what they show me is it's kind of like archangels, or at least in this specific time. It can always evolve in our relationship because mine is evolving rapidly. But nonetheless, I've worked with Yeshua on forgiveness, and then he'll step out. And then I've worked with Kali Ma on just letting go of what we think destruction means, but yet something needs to go through that metamorphosis process, right? The caterpillar squishes into liquid before
Well,
it
it
comes
bursts
out.
forth with a Yep.
Right. So star teams can also come in that way. They can come in with purpose to help you through something specific, or they can be reminding you of your very deep connections. And they often are, so as someone who associates with the Arcturians a lot, I know that part of what I walk with or drive with is a lot of impatience on the road because my vehicle is just supposed to fly and then I get stuck in traffic. And I know that the Arcturian part of me that sometimes loses patience with how quick my mind works and maybe someone else doesn't catch on as quickly. So I just need to take a breath and be in the heart space. But tempering that initially, like I used to just give my power away so quickly to frustration when all I had to do was just come back to love. And I know that in Arcturus, it's not that they are that way. They are full of love. It's that when it translates into 3D, we're having a memory of something that the system is somehow not working here. Why is it not working to the way I remember it? And so that's where the frustration can come in.
Thank you.
All right,
Oh, that
Linda,
was
thanks for coming
lovely.
on.
Thank you, both of you.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome.
So much.
Continue. Jeanette, welcome to the call.
Thank you so much. Wow, it's also fascinating already. I guess I'm in my word for the year is becoming. and I can feel I'm creating a lot of new contexts. So anything that you sense about the energies for myself and all of us in really birthing something new and feeling very authentic, but would love any deeper insights.
Well, the deeper insight is just to keep going, right? So sometimes on the journey, what'll happen is it's my favorite expression that Wendy Kennedy shared in the movie Tuning In about the boomerang from the top of the building, and you throw it out and then you stop believing in it. And so you find yourself on the bottom floor after, and your boomerang is coming back, but you're not there to catch it. As you are becoming, as you are navigating change and trying to participate in new ways from a loving place and from a patient place and from a place of remembering that everyone is really doing the best they can, you're going to hit not a brick wall, but you're going to hit resistance in certain places in your journey. And it's just not to give up. Know that you're well on your way. You really are. So trust that. Trust what you know to be truth, even when you reach the loyal opposition that wants to tell you no, or you're wrong, or you're crazy, or whatever the fun, colorful things that people, who may not understand yet, or it may not be their journey to, right? So
Mhm.
my invitation is to trust what you know, because you are following the breadcrumbs and they were dropped there by your own soul. Your soul said, "Oh, at this time, we're going to start expanding consciousness into maybe remembering what it is to be a star seed. Maybe it's simply just remembering that we don't want to keep creating from duality anymore."
Mhm.
Right? So trust yourself, because you're already hardwired for a lot of beautiful creation.
Mm. Thank you so
Blessings,
much.
Jeanette. Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming on. All right, y'all. We're gonna get into some more Q&A in a little bit. We'll get into a process a little bit later as well. And for now, I want to go into the special offer that was created here for BTO, which is quite special. There's 3 offers to choose from, something that's very personalized for you. There's the opportunity to go into one-on-one private session with Aurora as well after you get your blueprint or your star code. But there's 21 days as well in this, and I'm giving you a very brief overview because Aurora, I'd love for you to take us deeper into what you've created, the benefits that people are going to receive, and the opportunity to work with you in this way. So
God.
before Aurora starts, y'all, I know y'all probably already know, but the special offer link is in the live box. Click on that. If you're watching on the replay, there's a special offer button on the replay page. And if you're watching the replay on another channel, just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace, find Aurora's picture, click on the special offer button there, and it'll take you to that same special offer with Aurora. So Aurora, please guide us through this.
So I started downloading these images because John asked me to do a show a second time back in 2017. And I thought I was just going to draw little symbols on a piece of paper and take a picture and mail them off, and it was going to be simple. Oh no, Spirit says, you're gonna make mandalas. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So that's how we ended up here. It started with personalizing these images because the color and the geometry and the energy from each star code has something specific for each of you. And in some ways, they are generic in so much that you can see someone else's star code and feel a connection to that too. But what happens is a specific story gets told to you through the energies that are coming up for you. Things that I didn't even, it's funny because I'll be sharing something with someone through looking at the mandala or the star code, and they'll say, "How did you know that?" And I'll shrug my shoulders. I have no idea. But reading the map, that I'm basically given like a map that is very colorful and very beautiful. And then what happened was Spirit said, "I want you to start making ones that are for everyone." So I've done 2 rounds, but this is the second round. And the first card is the violet flame, right? So I started making images of Sirius, of the violet flame, of the sacred trinity, of the cosmic hue template. All these different images started coming through me, through different star systems, through different beings that are to assist us in moving energy out of the field. And the coolest thing about them is you can print them out, you can laminate them, you could use them as screensavers. I've got a client, the one I made for her, it's on her watch. Excuse me. So these images are working on us even when we don't realize it. But I really invite you to work with them physically. If you can sleep with them, or if you can meditate with them on your body, even when you're not looking at them, the energy that radiates through them is so powerful. The next step for me is I'm actually going to print them into a deck of cards.
Mhm.
But for now, this is the way I'm able to share them with you. And then
And
this, oh,
well,
sorry, go
I
ahead.
want to ask you in the ways that they're shared, there's 21 days worth of activations and codes that come in. Are there audios that follow this? Or are they the
Yes.
pictures? Like what's actually received in this particular 21-day activation?
You'll receive an email, and the email will have the image, it will have a description, and then it does have a SoundCloud. So you'll get an audio as well. And if you don't have SoundCloud, it's free to download, so you won't have to pay anything for it.
Hmm.
And I go into asking you to close your eyes. Like I kind of walk you through what I'm seeing the images do. And then there's always this invitation that even though this is what I see, I invite you to take the next step. I invite you to feel into, if I see something coming through the throat chakra, maybe you see it coming in through your crown, right? I invite you to the next expression of how you may work with it. And they're evergreen. So you could work with a card or an image and come back to it 3 months later, and something new will show up in the field for you.
Beautiful. All
Yeah.
right. So again, 21 days of that, of the star codes. And now, Aurora, I interrupted you. Tell us about
No,
package
that's it.
C.
So now the next one is you get a personalized one that's just for you. It's going to be connected to some of your star family, and it will reflect that in the description. And you'll also, again, get an audio. So the audio this time will be a little different, but it will be accessible no matter what. I just use a different app for it, one that you won't have to download. Once you open the email, you'll be able to listen to the audio from the email. So you'll get a written description, a little bit of information, and then I'm going to share with you the frequency, because what happens is when I speak, the energy of the template of the code is also coming through me. Oftentimes I think like we're just here to go blah, 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 because the energy's already happening. So we're just keeping your mind busy for a couple of hours on the show while you're already getting everything you need from your teams
Right.
of light. But it's fun, so there's nothing wrong with that. And so in this particular package B, you'll get your own, and you'll get information from me about your template. And then, of course, in the third one, we get to work together. So it's a half-hour session of now really fully activating. It's understanding who's with you in your star team and having your blueprint with you and being able to work with it. And it's an activation that's personalized. So if you are working on relationships because you feel stuck, we can focus on that specifically. If you're working on a health issue, we can focus on that specifically. If you're working on abundance or manifesting, creating, whatever it is you're working on, we can specify, right? So that's the really cool piece is I'm working with your team on behalf of you.
Mm. Amazing. Yeah, again, 3 special offers to choose from. If you choose package A, it's $97, 2 payment option. If you choose package B, you get everything in package A, plus your personalized Starseed Blueprint Activator. We have a recording that goes along with that as well. And if you choose package C, which is $197, that includes everything in A and B. Again, the 21 days, your personalized star blueprint, and 30 minutes with Aurora, and to go deeper and to get personalized messages and to co-create an awareness of wisdom that is within you that Aurora help you translate, which is so beautiful. So again, very special offer with Aurora. She always brings it to Beyond the Ordinary show. And we get to benefit so beautifully every time she's on. So thank you for creating this, Aurora. I hope you all take advantage of this. Again, the link is in the special, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. It's on the live page and a special offer button on the replay page if you're watching on the BTO website. And the link is there as well. And it's also at beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And with that, Aurora, I'd like to open up to a little more Q&A.
Sure.
And as we dive in, let's go here. Let me get to that screen. Deborah, let's go with you. Welcome to the call.
Hi, John, and hi, Aurora Luna. So nice to be listening to you tonight. My first time to hear you. Yeah, I had my question and it just went boom. That was like way back already. I think this was it. I'm wanting to find my my tribe. This is my tribe, but but I'd like to have one that's a little more rubbing shoulders with, you know. And you know what? If that's not the, you know, some of these things are there's seasons. I understand, and maybe it's not the season for that. Then I would just like maybe more direction. I think I'm Palladian Octurian.
You definitely have connections to both, but the energy that wanted to come through in this moment was actually Lyran.
Oh.
So to give you an example of what Lyra, the experience of Lyra, my sense is that when the movie Avatar was made, they came pretty close to all of it. It's not exact, but the energy of it is close. Lyra, it was a place where nature is a sanctuary and where everything lives in harmony, and where you touch the flower and the flower responds to your touch, and there's reverence in all life. And you do have a very strong connection to that as well. And for whatever reason, those are the beings that wanted to come in on your behalf in this moment. So it's not that you definitely have Pleiadian. That's the first thing I saw. But when you're asking, like, I saw Lyra and I see the connection between Lyra and Lemuria.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that ocean energy as well.
That's true. Okay. Wow. Thank you. That's a beautiful expansion that you just offered to me.
Thank you,
Very
Deborah.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Aurora, why is the awareness of this connection important?
So my sense is that right now it would serve Deborah to remember that she's walking with a lot of wisdom. I'm seeing two things. The council in Lemuria, women were the wisdom keepers. And so it's important to remember that you already know. You don't have to question or doubt yourself. You're walking with that frequency of remembrance of already. You know, we love validation. You don't have to love it as much anymore. Really trust what you know. And with Lyra, my sense is they're calling you back to remember your connection with nature in a very specific way. They're not showing me what, but I literally did see flowers. That's the first thing they showed me. So I don't know if it moves from, like, because what I also saw, like, I saw flowers and then Lemuria, and that makes me think of almost like using essential oils. I'd have to really dive deeper in to ask them what it means. So I'm not sure. The Lyran piece, there's something with flowers. But with Lemuria, it specifically is, you know, men and the male and female walked in equanimity. And even though the women were like wise counsel, if you will, the men held sacred space for that counsel to be there. And there was such, again, this reverence and reminded connection of how deeply we're all connected. So if there's anyone in your life right now that you feel really severed from, whether they're not on the earth plane anymore or they are, you really have, it's a reminder of eternal connection.
Beautiful. All right,
That's
Deborah, you got
beautiful.
something to sit with there.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Thanks for coming
Above and
on.
beyond. Thank you so much, Aurora. That was really very
Blessings to you.
big. Thank
And
you.
Aurora, this also takes me into, again, having these light threads of remembrance activate those star codes as well. They provide like a pulse that starts to activate. So as we tune in and we can feel the authenticity in our beingness and in our heart with that, something starts to come alive, which is wonderful. So Deborah, I appreciate you asking and or articulating the different aspects of it, and then again the importance, or why it can be so beneficial to dive in. All right, let's continue. Another caller, Dragana. Welcome to the call.
Hey,
You.
Jordana.
Hi.
How are
Hi.
you?
Hi, Aurora.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, we spoke once.
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And I'm looking at my Starseed blueprint that you made for me then.
Beautiful.
Mm.
It was, it's like it's a really very touching and good moment when you first receive that and take a look at it. And I assume it's like it does feel personal, even though I didn't understand in the first moment. But a question regarding that, I have two questions. Question regarding that is this: how so that was the blueprint at that particular moment. How fast does it change? Does it change? Is it just a blueprint, or it's a blueprint of that particular moment? Is it dynamic? And yeah.
It's all of that. So that's a great question. Your blueprint will never expire.
Mhm.
And how quickly your energy shifts is really, I mean, that's a very individual question. My sense is you've shifted several times, and I get a yes on that since that blueprint. So there's that. But it really is an awareness that when you feel ready, that's always the answer. No one can, no one can tell you that you need something more or something else or what that is. That has to come from a feeling from within you. But I can see in your energy field that a lot has happened since the last time we met. And that's exciting because it feels very expansive. It feels like there's a lot of love in your life right now, and it feels really beautiful.
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, of course we change. On the surface, nothing changed, but yeah, we grow. We have to.
Yeah.
We don't have to. It's just like natural response.
Yes.
Right? Well, so lovely to see you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Dragana.
Joanna.
There's a comment in here from Renee. So Renee writes, I attended the retreat via Zoom in Sedona.
Oh,
It was the first time being introduced to Aurora and her work. The energy, even over Zoom, was amazing. Her channeling wisdom and her beautiful singing elevates you and brings you back home. I'm forever grateful and forever changed. So this is from someone in the live retreat, but over Zoom, which is amazing. And again, it testifies to, and y'all are going to experience. We're going to get into a little energy play here in a little bit, but again, it's why we bring Aurora on. You can just feel what's becoming available in co-resonance through all this. So it's wonderful. And we're going to get into that in a little bit, y'all. I want to go first let's go to Alan. Alan, welcome to the call. We're going to get Alan to find his unmute button. There you go. Hey, Alan,
Unmute. Okay, I would like to know the galactic influence that may be present, but I also have a question as far as your understanding of timelines. Now, I know that I'm assuming that have a strong Pleiadian background.
You do.
But of course, that was before existence on the Earth. But then again, there's also the theory or the explanation that there is only this now moment, and that all of this is happening at the same time. So are you then from the Pleiades, or an aspect of your higher consciousness is from the Pleiades, and then this aspect is now on the earth plane? You know, because I mean, if you remember, I remember personally, you know, hundreds of lifetimes, different glimpses from. So that is all part of my timeline, but yet there's that timeline that is from what we would look at as our future. Correct?
Make it easier for yourself. So the
Please.
first thing, the first thing is that you are absolutely connected to Pleiades, though there are other aspects. Like, so you have to remember your inception point is source. So that's why I don't talk to people about origins, because the only origins that people talk about are within our galaxy, and most of us have been all over the place. So it would be hubris for me to tell you where you're from. However, I can tell you that you definitely have, like, so if you remember the stories of the Anunnaki and Orion, they created a slave race of humans, and then there's lots of different stories behind how that all went. And I've spoken to the Anunnaki about it. And some of it is really accurate in description, but there's so much more to the story than what's really been told. And so our DNA has definitely been spliced. We can use the full amount of our brain, but we're not being given permission until it's fully anchored in the heart. Because if we are in the mind without the heart, we will always destroy. That is the fate of all of humanity, or any civilization, really. They've shown it, you know, throughout all the different versions of the stories that have been told from different places in the Akash. Now, in terms of timelines, think of vibration and energy. That's the easiest way to do it. The higher you are vibrating, the more awesome your timeline is. And don't hold yourself hostage if you're not living an amazing timeline right now, because we can all do that and say, well, my life is crap, so I must be vibrating crap, and that sucks, and life sucks. Everything changes. It just needs momentum, right? So the timeline might not change overnight simply because you have one good day and then one bad day. It's about consistently coming back to saying, how can I show up today? And am I giving myself permission to accept and feel where I am without making it wrong? Because again, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to be depressed. We just don't want to make that our address. We want to feel it and give it space to say, am I depressed because I believe something that isn't true? Probably. Do I believe I'm unlovable? Is that true? That couldn't be true. I'm connected to the all that is, and source, God, whatever, loves me. Gaia loves me. But I must not be tuning into that love. So I need to start there, right? So that automatically will start to lift your timelines and how you experience and what you experience. Yes, if all time is now, there are multiple timelines happening. And as we are in the heart space, we can bounce around and start to get glimpses of more and more of what that can look like, especially if we have a purpose of desiring to bring it into this now for the highest of all concerned, right? So if you want to, you can expand your energy field in that way. And that again is a flex or a practice. And you're setting an intention like to visit another parallel timeline. If there's something you can learn from that space and call it in, and it's like almost like a looking glass. You can take a peek. They'll show you what is necessary or what is helpful. They will not show you what you're not meant to see. Or at least, again, that's what I've experienced. Because there's not supposed to be one being of the all-seeing, all-knowing. We're meant to be in evolution together. And so if one person knows, then they're on a pedestal, and that's not how we're meant to exist either, right? We're meant to see each other eye to eye because we are all equal in the eyes of the all that is. And so I hope that explains the timeline piece. As for your energy, yeah, you've got a lot of Pleiadian frequency, but again, something different is coming in for you right now, and that is the energy of Andromeda.
Ooh.
So Andromeda, and
Nice.
as a galaxy, not as within our star system. So Andromeda as a galaxy is, we're on a collision course as we speak, but it's about 400 billion years away. Andromedan energy as a whole, whenever I meet with them, they are perfectly balanced in their masculine feminine. They are perfectly balanced in giving, receiving. They are perfectly balanced in creation, but also gestation, right? The time that it takes to create something. And so there may be something for you to discover in that for yourself. Definitely self-love piece too, because Andromedans do not have any question of how magnificent they are, but they're not egocentric in that magnificence. They're just aware that they are a spark of all that is. And so they see themselves that way and they see everyone that way. So there's something in that gift for you.
Great. Thank you for the clarification.
All right, Alan, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks,
It's your
Alan.
brother. All right, y'all. I'd love to get into transmission with you. I just feel like the time is coming if you're prepared for that. But
Sure.
before we get into that, y'all, in case we get taken to different places, I want to make sure that you don't miss out on the opportunity to work with the 21 Days of Star Codes, to receive the recordings of that, to get your personalized star code as created by Aurora, and how she's tuning in specifically to you. And also the opportunity to work with Aurora at this discount, with everything else included, for 30 minutes one-on-one. The link's in the chat box. It's on a special offer page on replay, and of course on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. Y'all dive in and yeah, meet up with Aurora. Again, lots of testimonials about her work, and I can certainly attest to it, and having private sessions and being shamanically guided and drummed to and activated. It's quite an expansive, beautiful, heart-opening experience. Donna Murray's asking, Aurora, before we get into the activate,
Sure.
she's asking if it's important to do the 21 days consecutively.
My invitation is to actually use it according to how you feel aligned, which means if you're opening the first card and it's the violet flame and you're really navigating something that's challenging, you don't have to move to the next card the next day if it's going to serve you to work with these. That's what I love about these images. You can do this any way you choose. I initially did it at a one a day, and then I had clients tell me that they went back to cards that they worked with for like a week or a month because they were navigating something very specific that the card was gifting to them. It allowed them to see and to process. And when I say see, I mean just like really understand a broader awareness of what and why they're experiencing something. So I invite you to really do, I know people love instruction. So if it feels like alignment, absolutely do one a day, especially if that will help you get into the routine of changing your vibration every day. So if that's what you need as a catalyst to get your energy moving, I invite you to do that. If you do feel like you just aren't willing to move forward because you're getting so much from what you're working with one card, stick with it for a minute. Give yourself an opportunity to really glean what it's sharing with you so that you can fully process something and then move on to the next one, whatever that looks like for you.
Beautiful. Donna Maria, thank you for asking that.
Yeah, that's a great
And,
question.
and with that, Aurora, turning it over to you.
Okay. So I'm going to invite Om Ra into the space. And so I'm going to ask everyone to please, we want to be in resonance with Om Ra to feel the vibrational frequency. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take 3 deep but gentle breaths and allow your body to settle into the space where you are. And I'm going to invite you to see at your heart chakra, or at the center of your chest, a diamond platinum light, bright, shiny, sparkly light. This is a light that represents you. You're already this frequency. And we're going to intend or see that this light is going to expand. And I like to ask this light to connect with all of my body systems. So all of our systems, the central nervous system, the endocrine system, the lymphatic system, the adrenals, the organs, the bones, the blood, everything, all of our skin, right? Our skin is an organ. I think we forget that sometimes. It's all our light, but now that we're paying attention to it, it's expanding, connecting to all that we are on a physical level. Suddenly we are shining bright and sparkling, just like diamond light. And we're going to send this light through the base of the spine or the bottoms of the feet into the new earth that we are creating. And even if you don't know what that is, that's okay. Gaia will gladly accept this light as we all are in the middle of transformation together. And now seeing in your mind's eye, you're intending that this light is going to just expand we are having a thing with words today, effortlessly through the physical body to the emotional body to all the mental body and all the layers of the etheric body. And as we are owning, feeling, remembering this diamond platinum light that we are, we're letting go of tribal consciousness and we are connecting to our unity consciousness. And this light will travel all the way out to the galactic center so that we are fully now aligned and connected to our Trinity. The all that is, and we as the conduit, and Gaia, our new earth that is being created and formed as we speak. It is from this place that I will welcome Om Ra into the field. Greetings, dear ones. We are Om Ra Hanu, and we are grateful to be with you on this day. We are grateful to be with you always. And we remind you that connecting with us or with any other beings of light that are in the field for you, whether they be part of your star team, the elementals, the angelics, you can always connect with us through your heart. We are always available to you for this connection. And we wish for you to remember what it means to be love. Love, dear ones. You are already the frequency of this. It is not separate from you. It is not about romance, though we know that's fun while you're in body. You are already made of love. It is the very nature of who you are. It is that no matter how dark things may seem, that spark of hope that lives within you. It cannot be squelched by anything or anyone. It is already who you are, dear ones. Now, of course, you can do many things that brighten your light and that bring much love feeling into your energy field, into your beingness. And of course, we invite you and encourage you to do these. And whether or not you participate with love, it's already there. And so as you are choosing to connect with the frequency of love, it can be very easy, dear ones. Don't overcomplicate what it means to be in that frequency. And if you need assistance, if you need to think of a memory that brings the energy of love into your field, or to see an image that brings love into your field, or to be with others that help you remember the truth of who you are, we invite you to do all these things, dear ones, often. You are energy, and often you are not paying attention or having intention with your energy. We wish for you to come back into that place, that space where you are paying attention, not to chastise yourselves, dear ones. This is not the purpose. The purpose is to say, oh, I may have fallen into a belief pattern right now. I may be feeling anxiety right now around something that is not true. Let me come back to my heart, to Gaia, to my source. Let me come back to the feeling of love that I am. That's all. That's all it takes to begin shifting your frequency, dear ones. It's paying attention. We are aware that you can run on autopilot. We are aware. We have been informed. We remember the frequency of autopilot. We wish for you to always be your pilot. Do not allow any other consciousness to influence the truth of your being. You can take in information and evaluate, assess, discern, dear ones. If it sounds like fear, we wish for you to perhaps leave it to the side. Contemplate, do not take it in, dear ones. In fact, what we have shared is that fear is not from your planet, nor is it real. It's a construct of consciousness that was added for control. We know that you know this in your heart, and yet fear easily manipulates the mind. Come back from that manipulation. The energy was exuberance. The energy was excitement. It did not mean you would get eaten by the bear. It did mean the bear created excitement. Now, you have a choice with this wisdom. Remember the truth of who you are, which is love, dear ones. You are co-creators. So your vibration does matter in your creations. If thought is bringing something to form, so your thoughts start the creation process, your energy of feeling, how you feel about that thought, is going to determine your timelines, dear ones. If you are excited and feeling love and joy, you're going to experience some very high timelines, dear ones. If you are in fear and doubt, in lack, the expression of what is going to get created cannot go beyond those feelings, dear ones. We understand this takes practice, and so we invite you to practice in your creations. There are many formulas for this, dear ones. There are those that use the numbers 369, that you come back to those thoughts in the morning 3 times, in the afternoon 6 times, in the evening 9 times. This is one way, if it's something you choose. However you choose to come back to your frequency, that is the invitation. Come back to it often, dear ones. When you find yourself believing, feeling, expressing that which is out of alignment with love, come back to love. Come back to source, come back to Gaia, come back to your star teams, your angelics, come back to all the energy that is constantly surrounding you with encouragement, with love. It's always there, dear ones. In order to experience it, your frequency needs the match of love frequency. It's very challenging in the energy of despair to feel the frequency of love. Is it not? We are watching your planet navigate the ups and downs and the waves and the particles of all the sensation of feeling to find your eye of the needle, dear ones, to find your center of the storm, as it were. We invite you into these places and spaces where you are playful, where you are joyful, and where you are in authenticity with yourself, where you are in alignment with your truth. And The awareness that as you learn new things, your truth can change. That is perfectly fine. We are not here to judge on your behalf your process or how you are experiencing life. We simply wish to encourage you to know that there are many ways to experience. Why not experience the highest expression? Why not choose joy and love and the highest for all concerned? You are used to judging, dear ones. We wish for you to remember that judging is not loving. And the difference between judging and discernment is that judging will trigger you. That is not me. But in fact, every single face on your planet is you, dear ones. When you are discerning, you will say, that is not for me. I choose something else. And there's no trigger, there's no judgment. It's simply understanding what alignment feels like for you in this moment, with the awareness that in the next moment it can shift. And so we invite you, dear ones, to play and to remember the truth, because you are magnificent jewels of love and light, geometry and color. And we cannot wait to see how you choose to co-create as you move forward on your journey. And with that, we see you, we remember you, and we deeply love you, dear ones. So inviting you now in your mind's eye to see a beautiful sapphire light that begins at your crown and weaves a cocoon of integration and remembrance with ease and grace and so much love all the way down to the bottoms of your feet. And when you feel this process is complete, you may open your eyes and come back to the space.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome
And
back.
you.
That was beautiful, Aurora. Thank you so much for that. I want to leave you all in the activation. Take your time coming back. Really honor the space and what's flowing in your awareness, whatever connections to your star codes, your awakening DNA, your heart, your truth about the connection. They may continue to vibrate in this vitality, your remembrance. And so with that, I'll invite you all again to Aurora's special offer. You know where to find the links. The replay will be up later this evening. I bid all of y'all farewell. Good evening, blessings, namaste. And Aurora, thank you so much for the transmission, the work, the amazing generosity and energy you put into the special offer, and just how you always show up with such a beautiful open heart.
Thank you, John. Love you.
Love you too. Blessings, everybody. Until the next time.